Hey everybody, welcome back to another Judgment commentary of Koyomimonogatari, but today we're going to be checking out episodes 7 and 8. But last time, on the last couple episodes, they decided to mix things up a bit like they've, been tending to do with these episodes. I mean, it's a recurring theme at this point that every couple episodes things get shaken up quite a bit compared to what we had previously seen in the other episodes, and in this case especially because the first episode we saw, the one featuring Nadeko, didn't really have a mistaken oddity like the other ones did. There wasn't anything that was misidentified. Technically, the closest was that Araragi mistakenly believed that Kaiki may have had wind-based powers, but it was definitely different compared to normal. And the one after that was also different because it did involve a potentially misidentified oddity, but it didn't end with them realizing that it's just a normal thing and then moving on. Instead, they decided to essentially make it into an oddity if it wasn't one already. So yeah, that definitely changed things up. It ended with them potentially creating an oddity out of something that was normal. Just full stop. Possibly. They don't know for sure if maybe what they've done will result in the tree actually becoming an oddity, but they did bring up the potential of that. And other than all that stuff, we did get some more Kaiki, which is always good. We got to see Nadeko and Karen up to their usual shenanigans regarding Araragi. Karen being very upfront with her kind of stuff. Nadeko still being all shy, but she was very much enthusiastic about getting to spend some alone time with Araragi at their nice little celebratory popcorn party. Which, not sure what the popcorn was about. Was that supposed to mean anything, or was it just supposed to be fun? Yeah, I don't know, but it was still cool to get to see Araragi and Nadeko celebrating taking care of the apparition that was afflicting her. I mean, is that something that he usually does? Does he often just throw popcorn parties for the people that he helps? Still not sure about that. Also, just gonna have to address the elephant in the room here. I swear I didn't want to make this the gift that I put in the background, but there was nothing else I could pick. I looked through those two episodes, found nothing else I could use. I swear, please YouTube, do not demonetize me. But really, they were a couple of weird episodes like, the rest of Koyomi has been, but they're pushing the bounds on all of this weird oddity, aberrations stuff. I mean, who knows where it's going to go from here. We still got quite a few episodes left. I mean, we've got 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, so still got a ways to go. We're barely at halfway here. But it looks like this episode will feature Tsukihi. That should be interesting. Haven't gotten much of her in a while, so should be fun. Let's go. Yeah, that last one, episode 8, returned to a format similar to what we got in the earlier parts of Koyomimonogatari. Less about having to solve a problem, and more so trying to unravel a small logical puzzle. Because in the case of 6 and 7, it was about trying to solve an issue that had come up. And it kind of makes sense, that 6 and 7 were linked in that way because it was about the Fire Sisters. So them having some unifying thing between them is fair. Although 5 had nothing to do with either of these, really. I mean, there wasn't some big logical puzzle with that, nor was there something about trying to solve a problem. It was just a quick little theory that Araragi had about Kaiki that he needed to figure out. The only, logical puzzle you could try to solve about 5 was, thinking about how the rumors could have spread, but I don't know, some of that kind of went without saying. We already knew some of that stuff about Kaiki, why he was specifically targeting middle school girls. So, and we know that spreading stuff to that demographic is, of course, going to create rumors and stuff, so wasn't as much there with episode 5, but the rest of them, 1 through 4, if I remember, yeah, I think all of them had a bit of a logical puzzle to it. Except maybe water. That one was a little harder to figure out, but still there. But hey, I like these 2 episodes, especially 8, because anytime Ogi's around, you know you're gonna have a good time. She always makes everything very mysterious and thought-provoking. Definitely gives you something to think about. And she was throwing down a lot of weird cryptic stuff, as usual, but just her talking about how them building the shrine on top of the mountain threw off the balance. but she seemed to be against that idea of throwing off the balance, right? It sounded like she didn't like that they did that, but then she sets up for Nadeko to become the god of that shrine. You know, fusing with the snake god who she said disrupted the balance. All the same though, I think episode 8 is the first one so far that has not at all involved somebody misidentifying a regular thing as potentially being an apparition. Like, I don't think there was anything of that sort in episode 8 at all, and I'm trying to think if there somehow could be some way to tie it to it, but I don't think there was. It was just Ogi taking Araragi up the mountain and then telling him that, well, they built a shrine up here, threw off the balance, and, well, then gave him a little bit of a trick question by asking him how they relocated it up there, when the answer was obvious. They just built another one and said it was the same one. And the brief amount of construction they did was just clearing out the trees and then, well, building the shrine itself, which I wouldn't say that's minimal construction. That's about as much as you could get out of what their task was. Although I guess that means there wasn't any extra construction that was done, so technically it was the minimum required for their task, but oh well. Still, no misidentified apparitions this time. None of that. Just your typical Ogi episode, presenting Araragi with something to think about. Although not messing with any of his memories this time, it seemed more so like she was probing into her own. She seemed personally tied to what was going on. But maybe I'm reading too deep into it. I can never tell with Ogi. But it's time to do the thing that I always do with Koyomi. Let's turn on episode 9 and see if I can recognize what it's going to be. I mean, at this point we're running out of characters. Either they're gonna reuse one, or they're gonna use Sadachi, I guess. They could. There's nothing stopping them. Let's find out. Oh, okay. The Shinobu one. That's true. We have not done a Shinobu one yet. And this is very dang recent. This is like the last freaking arc before this. Wow. Like seriously, because they've used this intro, they're either gonna have to cycle back and use some intros before it, or what, make new intros? Yeah, because this is specifically the one from Shinobu Male. This is the Shinobu Male intro, which is interesting because Shinobu Male, that wasn't the first arc that was centered around her. There was Shinobu Time beforehand, so they could have used the Shinobu Time intro for this, but they picked Male. Because usually before this, they would usually pick the intro that was the first one we saw of a character. But Male was not the first one. So does that mean this is specifically going to be about Male? That would be weird. Well, that also leaves me with something to think about, because with that, there'll still be 3 episodes after. And Male was the most recent intro. So, I guess they'll just circle back, or maybe make some new ones, which would be a weird thing to do for a bunch of short anthology episodes. Anyway, I think that's all I gotta say on the matter, guys, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed. Subscribe to be updated on more. That would be great. Next time, we check out episodes 9 and 10, the penultimate set of 2, before we see what 11 and 12 have to offer. Yeah, this has opened up a very interesting point, you know, because of the whole intro thing, but one that's centered around Shinobu should be fun. I'm hoping we get at least one more that might be centered around Ogi, because Ogi stuff is always a good time, like I said. Yeah, couple of good episodes. I didn't say much about 7, but sorry about that. I did like it though. It was still interesting. Definitely different from the other episodes we've seen for the most part. A little similar to 6, but that's to be expected. For now though, that is it. So till we meet again, I will see you guys later.